Yes, hello, and welcome to Release the Creative, your favorite show about creativity, cognition, and on this week, are you aroused?
Really?
Yeah, had to do it, because at least it's attention-getting. People see that word and they think, ooh, what are they talking about? I bet it's sexy. And no, we're not, because arousal has nothing to do with, well, arousal.
I am a little disturbed. For those of you watching on YouTube, you'll notice that Kirk decided to name this episode Are You Aroused on the first episode where we've turned down the lights.
I'm like you think that was an accident. If you are watching on our YouTube, please comment in the section below what you think of the new lighting system. I love it so much. But if you're listening on the podcast, please head over to YouTube and comment on what you think of the new lighting.
Well, should we start releasing these on Friday night instead of Monday morning now?
Because we're calling it Are You Aroused?
No, just because of the lighting.
Oh, because it's more of a mood lighting thing?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this just feels more evening-y.
So the arousal comment is that there are emotions that are high arousal and there are emotions that are low arousal, which is to say, if you are relaxing, and I bet you have this problem at your house. I know we have it at mine. I don't personally have it, but that's just a me thing. If you are sitting and you are comfortable and there's a cat on you, that cat could weigh 10 million pounds. You can't move.
My cat does weigh 10 million pounds, but yes, agreed.
Like if you are sitting on a beach and you're in the sun and you have a comfortable drink and a good book, very little is going to get you out of your chair. You might have to go to the bathroom like really bad, but you're comfortable.
Yeah, that's a tall order to get out of that chair.
Relaxation and joy are low arousal emotions. When something makes you happy, joyful, relaxed, you're not going to rush on out, buy now. Like those are the opposite end of the spectrum. You are not aroused, again, in a different context, people, you are not easy to rouse. That is a low arousal emotion.
Yeah, this is more of an 80s thing, but they used to have a lot more of like infomercials.
Right.
These are more internet based now, but it used to be, call now, but only 34 left in stock, dial the number. And I remember, being a kid, I didn't have money anyway, but I still remember being a kid and watching these commercials. And when it got to the call this phone number and I'd be on the sofa, I'd be like, no, too much trouble.
I've met your daughter. That tracks. Like I can absolutely see that, Samantha. Like that is a Samantha moment. Like, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, too much effort.
Too much effort. No, but on the other end, you have high arousal emotions. You just talked about one, scarcity, like it's going to run out.
That was their attempt at
that was their attempt at scarcity. But one of the fear is a big one. I mean, we see that all the way to if it bleeds, it leads. If it's scary, if it's traumatizing, always start with the car crash. It's high arousal. I can't turn away now. The other ones that you'll never believe what happens at 2:14. Those are high arousal. Those are on the edge. Those are suspense. Those are fear. Nothing though quite drives conversation like controversy.
Mm-hmm.
Controversy.
Sean Connery.
Controversy. And so I'm going to say this up first. Jeff has no idea where this episode is going.
It's all my favorite kind of episodes.
Yeah, he has no clue. So if there's hate to be had, have it at me, not Jeff. A. B, if you hear me say something you think is offensive, listen again. I might not have actually said it. There's been a lot of, from kind of my perspective, some perceived controversy recently with perceived manufactured controversy, not perceived because the perception was real. Mm-hmm. The manufactured controversy about the Dr. Seuss books, Mr. Potato Head, now just Potato Head, and Pepe Le Pew will not be in Space Jam. They are doing these things because no one has mentioned Pepe Le Pew in, 25 years.
That one confused me because I was pretty sure they stopped doing Pepe Le Pew, 20 years ago.
But, when people aren't talking about your thing, you know how you get them talking about it? Make a decision. It doesn't actually matter if people agree with you or not, because nobody benefits more than the person you're boycotting than a good boycott. Like I was never going to see Space Jam 2, but now I'm talking about it on my podcast. I was never going to see this movie. Still not going to.
Well, so now are you espousing this as a actual conspiracy marketing attempt, or are you just saying they're getting lucky here?
Okay, so there's 3 different topics here. We have Dr. Seuss, we have Mr. Potato Head, we have Pepe Le Pew. Yeah. In Pepe Le Pew's, I think that someone like me got paid a whole lot of money to start a fight.
Yeah, that's what I mean by conspiracy.
No.
Is you think that somebody
on Pepe Le Pew
brought it up on
Pepe Le Pew?
Yeah.
I think someone like me got paid a lot of money to start a fight, and Pepe Le Pew was, because I think you're right. I think that they decided to do this 20 years ago, and they're bringing it up now because it is on brand. It is on topic. It is timely. And they know that people are going to people that didn't notice he'd already been pulled were going to kick up dirt about it. Stupid liberals. And they could get people trending about it. Now, where it starts to get murky is things like, like the Seuss Foundation. They pulled 6 titles. I thought those were good decisions. I looked at the titles they pulled. I looked at why they pulled them. I was okay with it. They pulled them in a very public and open way. I think that's fine, good, wonderful. I think the Seuss Foundation did that very, very well. Mm-hmm. The Mr. Now Just Potato Head in the middle, I'm a little torn. I don't.
Well, see, now I think you've fallen prey to misinformation, because what are you torn about?
They pulled the Mr. It's now just Potato Head.
That's not true at all. See, you have fallen true to misinformation.
The article I'm looking at.
What does the article say?
Hold on. I had it over. Here we go. The AP, Mr. Potato Head drops the Mr. sort of. And I understand the sort of. Hasbro, this is from the New York AP. Is Mr. Potato Head or not? Hasbro created confusion Thursday when it announced that it would drop the Mr. from the brand's name in order to be more inclusive to all, and so all could feel welcomed in the Potato Head world, which I feel is fair. It also said that it would sell a new playset with this fall and winter with Mr. and Mrs. designations that will let kids create their own type in potato familias, including 2 moms or 2 dads. Still, the packaging is now Potato Head. You don't buy a Mr. Potato Head now. You buy a Potato Head and you make it what you want.
But you still buy Mr. Potato Head.
That is not what this just said.
You just read it. He said you can buy Mrs. and Mr. Potato Head under the Potato Head brand.
But you're not buying a Mr. and Mrs. You're buying a Potato Head and making it a Mr. or Mrs.
Incorrect. You're buying a Mr. Potato Head. They're still selling Mr. Potato Head. And see, this is interesting that
while it was announced, the brand name and logo are dropping the Mr. You are not buying a Mr. anymore.
Right. The brand, not the character. It used to be Mr. Potato Head was a Mr. Potato Head product. Mrs. Potato Head was a Mr. Potato Head product. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Heads are Potato Head products.
Okay.
And this is very confusing, I know. But yeah, everyone's going on about how they're dropping Mr. Potato Head. You will still buy Mr. Potato Head, part of the Potato Head family.
I see what they're doing here. That's interesting. I read this twice.
Yeah, and I admit it's not clear. But yes, everyone that's complaining is saying, well, why does Mr. Potato Head have to change his name? He's not. He is still Mr. Potato Head. He will come in a box that says Mr. Potato Head.
For the record, this has nothing to do with any kind of... I personally think this is actually a decent idea on the weird idea side, but a decent idea, much unlike how I think that changing the name Google to Alphabet was stupid. But that's
But it is like that, though. It used to be Google owned Google Search. Now Alphabet owns Google Search.
Right.
It is. They're changing the top layer thing.
I figured that's why I brought that up.
And no, it's not clear in the things you're reading.
I read this in the New York Times and AP, and now I see it. I see what you're talking about now. But you're right. It is very...
And what's interesting is this is like a top-level branding discussion. This is the kind of discussion you and I should be having. The fact that normal people are having it is very weird, because it's like, oh, we're changing the name of the brand. It's like we're changing the name of the brand Lego from capital Lego to lowercase Lego. It's like it's that sort of decision. It's high level.
And here's what's interesting about it. And here's where my honest question comes in. And I have no answers here. These are just questions. These are not conspiracy theories. These are, I bet what you they did, Jeff. Nope. I have no theories here. Just questions. Inclusion is awesome. I'm about the inclusion. My question is about the branding of it. So why not just make them all potato heads and sell accessories to make as you have already clarified, they did a very specific set of things here. It's not the product. It's only the top level that no one uses. So what they've just done is they've made a change that changes nothing. Nothing. Nobody calls Google Alphabet. Absolutely no one, to include the people that work there. They work at Google. I bet you my life. I'm probably wrong, but whatever. Nobody calls it Alphabet. It's still Google. So they changed something that didn't matter and kept the products the same, when based on the very nature of what they're doing, they could have just said, now we just sell potato heads and you can make them whatever you'd like. And that would have...
Yeah, if I were in charge, that's what I would have done. That's
what I'd have done.
It makes sense to me that, like, oh, you buy these accessories, you put them in the potato, do whatever you want.
If you want to make a Mr. Potato Head, cool. If you want to make a Mrs. Potato Head, cool. If you want to make a non-binary potato head, also good.
And I'm the easy guess here would be like, oh, they would consider that too controversial and all this fighting you heard would be like amplified. But you know what? I don't think it's that. I think it's you're very familiar with the these charts they make where like, what's the most valuable brand? It's like, well, it's Apple and it's Coca-Cola. You know, what is the Coca-Cola brand worth in monetary dollars?
Sure.
Hasbro has some number on a spreadsheet that the Mr. Potato Head brand is worth X number of you know, millions of dollars, and some bean counter is like, well, if we change the name from Mr. Potato Head to Potato Head, we're losing millions of dollars in brand recognition. Like, I think this is just purely a
numbers game.
I see this a lot where like things stick to the brand precisely as is, and like I'm like, oh, that would be a good opportunity to update it. But they're like, yeah, but then we lost the last 40 years of marketing. Like everything's an Oreo or an M&M now. There's like every month it's a new M&M flavor and a new Oreo flavor. Yeah. It's like, what, they can't come up with a non-Oreo cookie? Yeah. Well, it's the sequel syndrome. It's
sequel syndrome. It's the same reason that that movies that aren't based on books don't work, or movies that it's why we keep on rehashing the same crap.
Yeah. So you get Police Academy 34 and you get Oreo number 36.
That's awesome. No. And so it's interesting to me, and again, I'm a communications guy, I'm a creativity guy, I'm a cognition guy. I am not a big CEO of a major corporation, even a sub corporation like the Potato Head family under Hasbro. There's a lot that goes into this, not really, that I don't know. And I will acknowledge that. But it seems like you just said, this specifically, again, now I am talking, we're going to end on Dr. Seuss before I go to my next point. But with Mr. Potato Head, with this new information, it kind of feels like they were doing the biggest swing they could with appeasing the most while offending the least. Like, this was a masterfully crafted, what can we do that will do the very least?
Yeah, see, here's where I don't know. Did this controversy, was it anticipated by Hasbro?
Yes.
Did they think, oh, we're doing something here that's going to get attention?
Yes.
Or were they caught off guard? Now,
no.
Yeah, I don't know.
No. There are starter pistols in the world, and there are people in hands that starter pistols are dangerous. Hasbro is a big enough company that them releasing a press release about LGBTQ rights and things, that's a starter pistol. It was going to start a conversation. Was it going to start a conversation on the Chick-fil-A spectrum? Or was it going to maybe, did they know how big it was going to go? I don't know, but there is zero chance that their PR person did not know that a brand of that size making a change this big to a property that size in this sphere right after the Dr. Seuss thing. There's no way they weren't. There's zero chance.
I'm not sure it was after though. So here, it became popular after, but when was the press release? That
is a wonderful question.
That's what I don't know. Yes, if it came out this week, I agree with you, but maybe it came out in January and just nobody said anything.
February 25th.
February 25th. So,
and on February 25th, they refer to last week. So, okay. On February 25th, I don't know what the day, that Hasbro created confusion on Thursday. So whatever day February 25th was after a Thursday. So February 25th was so it was Thursday. So same day.
Interesting.
So February 25th, they announced that. Whereas the Dr. Seuss thing was on March 2nd. So it was a few days before.
Yeah, that's all I mean is obviously, when you put out a press release, you're going to expect some kind of something happening. Right. But, there's things that become like this big of a deal. And I feel like this jumped up to the next level that maybe they weren't anticipating that much. I don't know.
So for the record, that's kind of how I feel about the Dr. Seuss thing, which is why I wanted to end that. Again, these are questions. Again, I'm really afraid someone's going to be like, that was the most, I am so in favor of them pulling the books they did. I'm so in favor of the ungendering the Mr. Potato Head, or Potato Head as it is now. And I am, for the record, I thought Pepe Le Pew was a lame character when I was a child. So that affects me zero.
No loss there.
None of these are what the hell, man? No, I'm I think these were all the right move politically. I think they were all right move emotionally and evocatively. I am here to talk about the communications of said things. That's all my interest is. My question that you just asked about Mr. Potato Head, I ask about Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss was in the 50s and 60s and 70s. He was old news when we were child, and now we have children, and my kids don't like Dr. Seuss. Was this, they sidelined 6 titles that...
I'd only heard of one of them, for the record.
I had heard of all 6 of them, but I was a fanatic Most people had heard of none of them to one of them, the zoo one.
Yeah. Well, I knew Mulberry Street.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Maybe I knew 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Mulberry Street, like,
But 2 of the 6. Yeah.
Two of the 6, like
4 of them.
But they made a big statement. Now, should they have removed them? Sure. I think I am going to get to it. I think LeVar Burton, as Reading Rainbow guy, answered. I think he put it to bed the best with his quote, which I will get to in a second.
Okay.
But because I was listening, I was like, I agree with that on this side. And then someone else said something, I was like, ooh, I agree with that. I was like, and I was listening to it, I was like, huh. And I really was kind of with my popcorn watching the comments of people like, whitewashing history. Like, and I was like, ooh, I'm torn.
Now, how do you feel about, so I'll say that, yes, I support the decision to stop publishing them.
Right.
The next day, Amazon removed all of them from their store. What do you think about that?
Well, for the record, I'd first have to ask if that was their decision. I used to work in a store, and often if the publisher pulled it, even if we had copies.
That is a very good point. I don't know the answer to that.
I used to have people come in to the video store that I worked in and go, I want a copy of blah, blah, blah. I was like, I'm sorry, I can't sell it to you. And they're like, don't you have any in the back? I was like, no, I have thousands in the back.
But you can't sell it yet.
I can't sell it. Did Amazon just stop selling it because we are in solidarity, or did they stop selling them?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know the answer to that. Obviously, if it was dictated by the publisher, there's no discussion to be had here. Right. It's just a thing that happened.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I went back and forth, and I listened to a lot of people back and forth, and I had that idea has merit. That idea has merit. That idea has merit. And I didn't know. And then I was watching the news feed, and I saw LeVar Burton of Reading Rainbow fame. I heard he was on some space show as well, but Reading Rainbow is what I'd like to face here. And he said, his quote, and I saw him say this live, and I'm like, you know what? That puts it to bed for me. I'm done. In straight agreement. And that's this. Actually, I think that in the general sense, once you know better, it is incumbent upon you to do better. And that's exactly what the Seuss Enterprise is doing here. They are being a responsible steward of the brand, and they looked at these 6 titles and determined that in the light of today, they don't really fit in with the values that we've all come to know Dr. Seuss for. Look, all of our heroes are human. They are all flawed. It's one of the things I learned from Gene Roddenberry, one of my storytelling mentors. Gene was a guy who had his great vision, but he also wanted all the women. He also had all the women in short skirts. So our heroes are flawed.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm listening to LeVar Burton again. I don't know what space show he's talking about, but Reading Rainbow, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. This isn't Horton Hears a Who. And for the record, like, this wasn't Cat in the Hat. And there was things in this that was offending people, so let's pull it. My question again, not on the decision, on the communication. They could have done that quietly. They could have just stopped. Disney has never made a statement about Song of the South that I'm aware of. They just
do
things. Disney, like, all of a sudden, you just can't get Zippity Doo-Dah anymore. Like, what the heck? Why isn't it here? And anyone you ask goes, oh, well, I know why. But Disney has never said it. Seuss Foundation made a very public statement that they would stop publishing 6 books that no one bought.
Yeah, that's, I mean...
Again, questions, not conspiracies.
It's interesting in a way. You're arguing for the things you do. You're arguing, hey, just don't do that.
You shouldn't communicate. No, I'm not. Like, I think the communication was good. My question is, it was the timing was interesting. The 6 books were interesting. The way it was phrased was interesting. There was a lot. And again, those are all things you'd hire me for. So, like, I'm pro these things, but because they're things that I know how to do and I'm hired to do, I always have to look at okay, that's what the magician wants you to look at. What is in his other hand? And my question is, did Seuss Foundation really just want these off the market? And I'm not saying that there was some nefarious plot here. The press release and the grand gesture, was it a grand gesture, or was it a marketing thing to get people reading Dr. Seuss again?
I mean, my personal opinion is that they came to this decision, and the first thing that came to mind was, well, we have to tell people, and they didn't debate it.
I tend to agree with you, for the record.
So that's my real answer. The sort of conspiracy theory answer, if you say if they're like trying to like divert attention, it could be seen as a way that, Dr. Seuss made children's books and he made political cartoons
before that, yeah.
And a lot of his political cartoons had a lot more problematic issues than the children's book.
Way more.
And it's not like they published those for children or anything. So, like, there's no problem here.
Right.
But I do wonder if the move on these books was a little bit of a signaling that like, hey, there were these good and these bad things. We stand for the good things. And like, this is sort of a way of showing that without having to make any comment on those comics.
And I agree with you. I think in the world of I made the misdirection thing, there is a book that was released by the Seuss Foundation many, many years ago. I don't know that to be true. I don't know who released it. I'm pretty sure it was the Seuss Foundation, but I don't want to be incorrect. Called Dr. Seuss Goes to War.
Yeah.
And it was an awesome book.
No, I've seen all these comics because they were published.
And there is some remarkably problematic stuff in there. There's also some remarkably awesome stuff in there. Like,
and it's a good book because it puts it in context and explains it. And it's not endorsing it. It's not saying like, oh, this is funny. It's saying here's a historical record of this thing.
And so it's this interesting thing. So back to the top of the show, onto my kind of next point is like the quickest way to get everyone talking about you is to start a fight. Fights, nostalgia, childhood, what's the word? Injustice, censorship. These things are all related to high arousal. Like no one's going to take my look, man, you hadn't thought of Pepe Le Pew for 20 years until they decided to not put him in Space Jam 2, a movie you hadn't thought about in 20 years. And now everyone's talking about Pepe Le Pew. For the record, I think that one failed. I think that like people are like, oh yeah, him too. But it's interesting. On the other side, like I said, the low arousal, getting someone off of a beach chair. I mean, the chair might have to be on fire. And even then, I know people that'll be like, I got time. But where I wanted to end this is high arousal versus low arousal is yesterday's answer. Literally. I mean, the world of communications and cognition is ever changing. We are hugely and exponentially evolving in the way we communicate. High arousal and low arousal is something that I was aware of as a plebe 20 years ago. What's interesting that I wanted to kind of end with us today, and this isn't even new, this is still 5-6 years old, is that it isn't just about high arousal and low arousal anymore. There's more to it than that. And I wanted to kind of end with the three. High arousal and low arousal is one spectrum. There are actually three spectrums that we can use to kind of move our messages. Arousal being the first, and it ranges from excitement to relaxation. It's, we've talked about it, anger as well, all the way down to relax. Happy. Happy is low arousal. If you're happy, you ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, good.
You have it's all the way over there. My reaching stick won't reach. I'm good. The other one is valence, which is a word that a lot of people don't know. It's not as active in our vocabulary. And that's like the positivity or the negativity of emotion. Like happiness is really high valence, whereas fear is really low valence. Like you don't like it. It's negative. So fear is particularly particularly bad because it's a low valence, high arousal, which is going to get you to move. It's really negative, really activating. Whereas really positive and really activating is going to get someone out of their chair to dance. It's not necessarily going to get them to go the direction you want them to.
You're just winding them up.
You're just winding them up, like
putting them in a direction.
Yeah, exactly. You turn on a really good song. It's joyful. It's high valence. It's high arousal. Getting them to buy Cheetos is going to be harder. So that's valence. And the last one's the one that I think is interesting. Is the one that I will admit I think about the very least, and it's dominance. So fear is low dominance, which is to say you're feeling controlled. That is an uncomfort. Whereas adoration is high dominance. I love you, Jeff. I think about you all the time. I think about you all. And you're like, adoration. No, adoration it's high dominant. It is you. So so sticking with fear and these manufactured controversies, it makes you feel out of control. It's a low dominant. It's a low valence. It's a negative, low dominant, high arousal emotion. So it's like it gets you out of your seat and makes you feel the victim. It can create a lot. And I'm not trying to give you guys propaganda tips here. I'm just saying that this is why that particular combination is so dangerous. Fear is deadly.
Map this over story that I just heard yesterday that I think is saying exactly what you said. It's been known that right-wing propaganda and into like the sphere of Nazism, like real QAnon and all that stuff. Facebook has a lot of it.
Yeah.
And there's been talk about, is Facebook like pushing this agenda or whatever. And the thing I read yesterday is is like, no, the QAnon conspiracy crowd is really, really a fan of the kind of content that's what you just said. It's like, this bad thing's going to happen. It's coming. It's going to be this thing, like there's going to be a riot. There's going to be an explosion. They have all these like conspiracy theories about things that are going to happen that are going to be bad. And that is the content that gets shared the most. And basically, Facebook is not pushing conservative content. They're pushing the most engaging content.
Right.
And it just so happens that the far right wing has the most engaging content from this perspective.
One of my favorite ads, it wasn't a particularly good ad, so I don't want to be like, why was that his favorite? It's not, I'm not touting it as good. It was one of the ones that, because you can do this in every category. Like, you can do this to every demographic. And one of my favorites was a Band-Aid ad from like 2003. For the record, it might have been like 1996, but like
a while ago.
It was a long time ago. And it was a Band-Aid ad of a kid, 8 to 12, coming in covered in mud in 90s gear. He was wearing like a flannel shirt and like stuff, bowl cut. And he came in and he had a big cut on his finger and he was holding a frog. Okay. And his mom looks down at him and goes like, ugh. And like, let's map that out. Okay. That's fear. You have a child with an open cut holding an amphibian. Like, now again, if this is your second child, you don't care at all. But if it's your first child, you're very concerned. Yes. You're very concerned. So it's all of a sudden it's activating. It's like, oh geez, I've got to, and it shows her cleaning it up and fixing it. But it's all negative. Everything about the message, but it was wrapped in a positive message. Like, isn't parenting great and grand? The kid is smiling. They don't want to be fear-mongering. Fear-mongers are bad. Fear-mongering is a negative emotion. We don't want to be negative. So it was kind of fun, and he was out playing and it was good, and he comes in and the mom sees it and she has the concerned look and she rushes over to help with the fingers and and puts the toad in a terrarium, and everything was wonderful. But it was still high arousal. This is dangerous. But the Valence, it tried to keep closer to the middle, whereas it was a negative thing in a positive context as opposed to a negative thing in a negative context.
Yeah, it's just like all the old detergent ads where the kid's white soccer uniform has grass stains all over it. Right. And it's like, oh no, it's ruined. But then like, you're right, the commercial is the kid's enjoying soup, and the mom is like taking care of the kid. And like, it's a happy family day, but you still have that like, oh no, the grass stain.
So and again, we both just used 90s and 2000s examples, but and communications change, but so there's some different kind of tactics now. But the idea is that you don't want to be seen as being a bully. So I have to instill in you high valence, low valence, high dominance, low dominance, high arousal, low arousal in a very specific set and make it come from you, not come from me. Mm-hmm. So there's a meme that I saw from many, many years ago that I really, really liked. And it said, and I showed it to my wife and she laughed, and we laugh about it to this day. And it was, your first child eats dirt and you take him to the emergency room. Your second child eats dirt and you give them some soda, you give them some ginger ale and tell them the stomach ache will pass. The third child eats dirt and you wonder if you still have to give them dinner. I have 5 children and I can attest to the truth of this statement. I was like, you ate that whole handful of dirt. You can't be hungry.
Good,
you're good. So it's, how can I make you want my product without telling you want my product? And this doesn't need to get into a whole like masterclass on the subject, but it's, what started off as, are you aroused? Arousal is important. We need to get people activated. And then we talked about, Dr. Seuss, Mr. Potato Head, Pepe Le Pew. Okay, we're activated them. We've outraged people. To what end? Were they high valence or low valence? Were we trying to make them happy about it? Or Pepe Le Pew, were they were trying to make people feel lost without their character? Again, I don't mean to pretend like I know anyone's motivations, but when I look at that one in particular, I'm pretty sure, I don't know.
It's interesting that, I don't know if this is the tactic, but a lot of these strike me as what they try to do is do something that will get 1% of the people angry enough to complain a lot. Right. Just 1%, because you don't care about,
that's a good number.
You don't care about their money. You don't care. Like, they make a lot of noise. And then what you have is the other, let's say 80% of people that think this doesn't matter either way, get that activated outrage about that group. Right. Where you say, I can't believe they're complaining about this. And then, and so you get this outrage, but it's not directed at the company. It's directed about the 1% complainers. And so they kind of offset that. It's like, oh, you guys go have a little controversy and we'll just be over here in the corner.
No, and it's a solid tactic. And again, I don't know that that's the tactic being used in any of these. I don't want to pretend
it's the result, whether it's the tactic or not.
Yeah. This is a little bit like I feel a little bit like Penn and Teller on Fool Us. Like I'm watching someone else's magic trick and I can write down and show them and they can be like, oh no, Kirk, you're wrong. I'm like, holy shit, you fooled me.
Good guess, but
like all I can do is guess from my experience and observations and stuff like that. But I will say that like all three of these had stories, had feelings of true authenticity. There really was some, and others had truths of like, this feels a little bit like, jumping up and down, like, ooh, pick me. There's some cool elements here, but all of them are playing with these three lines, and the high arousal and low arousal, especially for professional communicators, those are old terms. The ones that are newer that, again, I've only somewhat more recently in my journey become aware of is the valence of something, which I knew about. You obviously don't think of fear and joy, both high arousal, as the same. They're both, one's positive, one's negative, and that's the valence, and one's the dominance. And playing with that mixture, sliding between those three scales, you can, not to make it sound like all marketers are manipulators, we are, but you can do some pretty weird things with people by playing with those three scales. And that is kind of the message of today of
get out there and play with people's emotions.
Go out.
Good message.
Wow. So not the intended takeaway. Oh man. I'm going to talk to my therapist about this one.
All right. Yeah. We will see you all next week. Thanks for joining us here at Release the Creative. Kirk here would never say it to your face, but he thinks you should like and subscribe to us on YouTube.
And Jeff is far too shy to admit it, but he thinks you should subscribe to us on your favorite podcast reader.
Yeah? Well, you're the one who's always saying that everyone should give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
Why do you have to make everything so difficult?